Hi everyone. I am so glad you are joining me for Gloria Dei's online vacation Bible school. This is our craft portion, okay? So, for our day one, we've been talking about the first sin and how Adam and Eve sinned against God. They didn't listen. So I have two crafts that we're going to do. And really, all of the supplies you're going to need are right here in front of me, okay? So here's what you're going to need for both. You can use a paper plate or you can have just a plain piece of paper, okay? Either will work. If you don't have a paper plate, just grab a piece of paper. Any color, okay? But white's fine. You're going to need some string or some yarn. Any color is going to be fine. It's not going to matter, okay? You're going to need a marker of some sort. You can use black or you can use a pencil or a pen, but you need something to draw with. You're going to need a pair of scissors, some tape. I'm going to use colored pencils, but you can also, if you have construction paper, you can use construction paper that's already colored. And if you don't, you just have plain white paper, you're going to want crayons, markers, or colored pencils, okay? So for our first craft, we are going to make a tree with apples, okay? So I have an extra long piece of paper. That's fine if you have that. If you don't, that's okay too. Just use a regular piece of paper. And what you're going to do is you're going to draw out a tree, okay? And you want it so it's got a trunk, okay? And I'm just doing this super freehand. Doesn't have to be pretty. And then I'm going to make it a round tree, okay? There's my tree. Not very hard, right? And if you only have a small piece of paper, that's fine. Just draw your tree a little smaller. Now, on this tree, you can color it. So you can use your crayons or your colored pencils. And you're going to want whatever color you want. I'm going to go with green. I'm going to go with brown. And you can just color it in. And I'm going to do it kind of fast, but you can make it as pretty as you want. Okay? Now, mine has this cute little pattern on it because that's what my cookie sheet has on it. But you can just do it on your table. It doesn't have to have anything overly pretty on it, okay? Because this is the base for your craft and a game. I don't think I told you that. Not only is this a craft, but it's also a game. Yay, I love games. All right, so enough of that noise. So I've got my tree, okay? Now, you're gonna wanna take your pen or your marker or your crayon, and you're going to do a tic-tac-toe outline, okay? Just like that. It's pretty easy to do, isn't it? It's like a giant hashtag. So there's my tree. All right. So that's number one done. So this is part of our thing. Now we have to make our apples. So if you have green and red construction paper, that's great. If you don't, just use white paper and again, grab some crayons or some colored pencils or markers and color them two different colors. It doesn't have to be green and red. It can be yellow. It can be any color really you want, right? Fruit can be any color. Now, to do the apples, you can just freehand circles. You want them to be small enough to fit into your tic-tac-toe game, but you also want them to be big enough to see. So if you have a cup, like I have a plastic cup, I think this will be perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to use my black marker and I'm going to trace around for a circle. Okay, so I got one. And you can make as many of these as you want. Usually you want to have like at least, 6 so that it will show on your game in case you have that many turns, okay? And then you're going to just cut them out. So cut out your circles. And these are just representing the apples or the fruit from the first sin, right? Because when Satan appeared to Eve as a snake, right? He got her to eat the fruit that God had told them not to eat, right? Right. So, I've got, and my apples aren't pretty, and that's okay. It's a homemade game, right? You can always make more if they get torn or ripped or whatever. Okay? All right. So I've done 3 green. Right? I got to trace a few more. And I'm going to just do I'm going to do 5. You can do more than that, but I'm going to do 5 green. And then I'm going to trace on my red paper. Okay? So, and I'm just setting them on my tic-tac-toe board just to have them be there, just to make sure they're kind of the right size. Now, if yours are bigger and they kind of overlap, that's okay too. It doesn't have to be perfect. But you want them big enough that you can see them, and you want them small enough that they don't take over your whole board. Okay? So I've done 5 green. Now I'm going to trace and do 5 red. Now again, if you don't have construction paper that's colored, just grab some white paper, and a trick that'll make it go so much faster is if you take your white paper and your cup and you trace around it, and then you grab your crayon or your marker and color them. That way then, and it doesn't matter then, because if you go outside the lines, it doesn't matter, you're gonna cut it out anyway, right? So then here's my red we're cutting out. And we're gonna make this awesome game. And it's something you can play with your friends. It's something you can play with your family members. All to remind us of how Adam and Eve sinned, and yet, even though they sinned, God sent a promise, didn't he? God promised that he would save his people, us, and that he would send someone to take care of us. And who is that person? I hope you said Jesus, because that's who he sent, right? God sent Jesus to die on the cross for us, and he spent 3 days in a tomb for us, and on the 3rd day, he rose, right? So even though Adam and Eve disobeyed God a long time ago, God kept his promise. And that's what's important for us to remember, is that God always keeps his promises. Always. All right. So I have an extra piece because, well, I have 5 of each. So here's my tic-tac-toe board. And if you don't know how to play tic-tac-toe, moms and dads can show you. Grandmas and grandpas can show you. Lots of people can show you. Okay? And I'm going to show you. So you take your board and you have your 2 people or your 2 teams, and you pick one to go first, and then they lay their color in a spot they want, and then the next person does, and then it's back to the first person, and they lay something, and then it's the next person, and then it's the next person, and look, can you see it? Did I get 3 in a row? I did, 3 greens in a row, but I was just playing with myself, playing by myself, right? But that's the thing is, and there might be games where nobody wins. That's okay. Just take the pieces off and have the other person go first, and just keep trying and have fun playing this fun tic-tac-toe game that we made from a tree and our apples. So that's the first craft. All right. So our second craft we're going to do involves the rest of our supplies. Okay. So remember I talked about the string. I don't need this cup anymore. And we talked about the paper plate, and we need that marker. Okay, here's all of our stuff we need for this one. All stuff a lot of it we've already used, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're going to turn our paper plate, or if you have a piece of paper, that's fine too. We're gonna turn our paper plate into a snake. And it's gonna remind us of our Bible lesson for today, how the snake tricked Eve, okay? And you know what? If you have some red scraps from your tic-tac-toe game, hold on to those, because you can make a fun thing from that too. Now, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just guesstimate, and I'm just gonna cut. If you wanna draw, you can draw, but I think it's just more fun to cut. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut in a circle this paper plate, but I'm gonna not cut it so that it cuts. I'm going to keep cutting it. See how it keeps twirling around? And it kind of already starts to look like a snake, right? I'm gonna just keep twirling. Keep twirling. Whoops, got a little close there. Keep twirling to the very end. And look at that. I didn't cut any pieces off. And if I lay it down, it should still look like my paper plate. Okay? But when I pull it up, look at it. Kind of already looks like a snake, doesn't it? So I'm going to take my colored pencils. I'm going to pull them out so I can see my colors. I'm going to draw some eyes on my snake. And I'm going to take a piece of my red, because what do snakes have? They have these long tongues, right? And all I'm going to do is I'm going to tape it to the paper plate, okay? Ooh, my tape got all messy. So give me 1 second while I fix that, okay? So I'm just going to tape it underneath. Okay. Look at that. How cool is that, right? Look at that. Now I'm going to just take a piece of string, because I want to be able to hang my snake, okay? So I just took a piece of string, yarn, whatever you can find, and I'm just going to tie a knot in it so that I have this loop already made. Okay, see? Got a loop already made. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the loop to the snake. And I'm going to tape it on the back of its head so that it doesn't come off. And I just dropped my tape. Hold on. Okay, see, even mistakes happen to Miss Jen. So I'm going to take my loop and I'm going to tape the yarn to the back of the snake's head, just like that. And look, when I hold it up, I can hang it up and I've got my snake right there. Now, you can also decorate your snake however you'd like. You can give it spots, you can give it stripes, anything you'd like. And you can do this out of paper too. You just need to make sure that when you have your square piece of paper, here, so like this, if you have a piece of paper that looks like this, just try to cut a circle to start with so that you have a place to begin. And you can trace like a big bowl or something that already looks kind of circular, or you can just guesstimate. My circle is not that great. It's not that circular, but it's better than a square. And then just pick a spot and just cut around and around and around and around, just like you did, like you could on the paper plate. Okay, whoops. Just be careful that you don't like cut into its body. See, look at, now I've already got a green snake going on here. Okay, and there is my green snake. And then I can do the face and the tongue, just like I did on this one, and the ribbon. And look, we've got our snakes. And then you can decorate them, like I had said before, all to remind us of how Adam and Eve sinned. But the story doesn't end with the snake, does it? Fast forward to Jesus, and he died for us, and he took away all of our sins, and he rose on the third day. He rose from the dead so that you and I can live in heaven with him. So the snake is just kind of a reminder that when we sin, we need to say we're sorry. And Jesus loves us and he forgives us. And it's just a fun craft to make, to share, to remind us of what he did for us, right? So have fun with your tic-tac-toe apple game, tree apple game. And if you want, you can even draw some branches and you can put the snake in there. You can draw some other apples on the tree. You can do whatever you want with this. Have fun playing and just making the fun craft. Have a wonderful day, everyone. I'm so glad you joined me for day 1. I can't wait to see you for day 2. Bye.